Good afternoon, everybody. Man, I was just thinking about when I walked in the first day I was governor, as soon as I got inaugurated, and I stood in front of the press. You know how nerve-wracking that is when you're first elected? So now we're getting used to each other, and it's fun to see y'all every single week and give you an update. But really excited. This session's going well. We've got some great bills moving through the process and got out of committee. So a lot of pro-family, pro-business, limited government. We've got some tax cut bills moving through, and we're excited about where we're at right now in the session. And so a lot more to do, but great time every single week. I have breakfast with the pro tem and the speaker, and we've built a great relationship and very open conversations that we have at the governor's mansion every Tuesday morning. So let me just stop and open it up to questions, what you'd like to ask. Yes.
Hello. So just about 10 minutes ago, you're calling for this audit of the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. What are you hoping to get out of this?
Yeah, so earlier this week, we met with Allie Friesen, who runs the mental health department. I think she's been there for maybe almost a year now, and they've found some financial issues inside the mental health agency, and so we just want to find out what's going on. So she came to me and requested that we really look into this. So she thinks she's terminated some different people in their finance department, and still trying to get all the numbers, but it appears like we may have to do a supplemental or some extra money to mental health. So really just trying to get our eyes on it. So we're asking the state auditor to go in and do a deep dive and find out exactly if there has been any kind of financial mismanagement. Why do we have a gap in funding? How much have the roles grown on the Medicaid spend? Are there any contracts we need to look at? So all that stuff needs to be exposed. So as soon as I find out there's an issue, I want to immediately put eyes on it, put focus on it. I like to say, shine a light, see where all the rats scurry to, and let's just shine a light on everything that's happening in state government. And unfortunately, it's just so frustrating here that sometimes as we're moving, that's why I'm such a proponent on making change and putting fresh set of eyes on boards and different agencies. And then I'm just thinking, man, where else do I need to turn over to put a fresh set of eyes on it? So just came up this week. As soon as she requested it, we asked the auditor to dig in, and I'm sure Cindy Bird will do a great job of really digging in and looking. And as soon as we have more information, we'll let you know.
Does it have anything to do with the consent decree that was approved in both the House and Senate this week? Is that a follow-up to that?
Not at all. Has nothing to do with the consent decree. That's a totally separate issue. This is more about spend inside the agency, and obviously we have providers all over the states that have contracts with the state. We have people on Medicaid that are getting mental health needs, and we've got great needs in the state. But something's happened with the amount of money that's gone out the door, because this agency has just over the last few years has received a 14% increase. And I'm getting the numbers, how much it's increased just since I've been governor, but it's way more than 14%. And to come up to us and tell me that we're 60 million or whatever they're telling me that we may need a supplemental, very, very frustrating. So we're digging in, and we're going to find out exactly what happened. But this is my understanding that the CFO has been replaced, and some things are coming to light right now.
It was reported on Monday that DOJ is canceling the lease for the Radar Operations Center. I was waiting to see if you talked to the federal delegation about this, or given concern about this affecting weather forecasts. There's been a lot of concern raised, on social media when people claim that it's going to affect the ability for local weather stations to accurately broadcast the weather. What are your thoughts on this?
There's tons of rumor. Like, I think we were in here last week or the week before, and there was a rumor about 600 layoffs at Tinker, And I'm sure that's going to continue to come up. Obviously, we'll deal with it if something happens like that. But right now, we just think this stuff is rumors. And of course, you know, a lot of important federal funding that needs to be looked at. And obviously, I'm concerned about if anything affects Oklahoma. So we're on top of it with our federal delegation. But right now, that's just all rumors.
And sir, if I may, 2 brief items here. First, is that proposal with the State Board of Education an attempt to put a check on the state superintendent's power? And second, looking at the federal building in Oklahoma City possibly being sold by the government, do you have any concerns or thoughts about that?
Well, again, the federal building, same issue. That's a rumor that we've heard as well, just like Tinker and some of the other things that are coming out. So we'll deal with that one. The bill that I think the speaker and the pro tem are putting out, I think those were the two authors of that bill, Paxton Hilbert bill. You know, you don't really have a board if you can't put an agenda item on there, right? I mean, you ought to be able to put things on the board agenda to vote on. Obviously, the board has the right to vote those up or down. But if 9 people want something and one person is keeping that from even being talked about, I think that's a problem. That's not really a board. So we applaud that. We think that's very, very normal to be able to put things onto an agenda to have good governance. And so you know, we'll see if that thing gets to my desk. But overall, we think that's a good thing.
Not terribly long ago, you spoke about doctors not wanting to come work in Oklahoma. Has there been any movement on tort reform?
You know, there's I think both House and Senate have bills that are moving forward on tort reform. That's something that's a delicate situation, and people need their day in court. But we need certainty. Businesses need certainty on what you know, what to plan for. And I just look as a business person, I think we need to be market. We need to look at what's happening in Texas and Kansas and Arkansas and Colorado. And if I think that, you know, malpractice insurance is cheaper in Texas than it is in Oklahoma, I'm going to ask questions of why. And then I'm going to bring that information to the legislature. So I think they're looking at all that. As you know, there's a lot of committee work that's being done. And I'm sure there may be some form of that tort reform that gets to my desk, and we'll see.
Governor, oh my gosh, over here, sorry. I'm struck by your request for an ODMHSAS audit, concerns about finances. And we're still waiting on OSDE audit. We just had a TPS audit, found some serious concerns. And if I think back, we have EPIC, we had Swadley's. Right before your administration, we had the State Department of Health. We've had a number of scenarios where it seems like it's hard to really track where the money that's appropriated is going. And I was wondering if you could speak more globally to those concerns. I mean, we have an auditor, we have an attorney general, we have different branches of government, but it seems like we have some pretty big agencies, subdivisions, what have you, that really are struggling to direct the dollars where they're intended to be directed. And I was curious if you could speak a little more about that.
I mean, that's a big question. You know, when you're talking about a $22 billion budget with thousands and thousands and thousands of different vendors, it's complicated. That's why I put our checkbook online. That's why I'm trying to bring a different process to make sure there's no sole source contracts. We want to RFP everything. We want to be as transparent and as accountable as possible. But management is hard sometimes, and you've got people that are embedded in these agencies for a long time. And you got lobbyists in this building that have relationships, and every time I turn around, it feels like that there's an agency that we need to look at. And so, you know, the auditor, I'm sure she's doing the best job she can. It does, you know, it does seem like it takes a while to get these things out, like the Tulsa audit. And then there was legal maneuvers that even kept it closed for another 2 weeks. Then you've got your superintendent that's already been gone for a year or two. And it does kind of feel like that for for most Oklahomans, and back before I was governor, I mean, looking at this process, it does get frustrating for people. But I can assure you that we want to shine a light on these issues. We want to hold people accountable. We want to make sure that we are spending tax dollars efficiently, and gives me an opportunity to talk about tax cuts. That's why we need to choke off the spending, because government will spend as much money as you give them. And so that's why I really believe we should do a 0.5 point tax cut this year. We can absolutely afford it, and choke off. There's not an unlimited amount of spending that can be spent on all these different agencies. So I just really continue to encourage the legislature. Let's do a 0.5 point tax cut. It's only $240 million in this fiscal year, and we can absolutely afford it with a $4.6 billion budget.
Hey, good afternoon, Governor. In the past, you've spoken out against Walters and the county of the immigration status of students and families. You said do your job. Last time we talked about that. He's now pushing, and I think appropriations is heard it today, is $3 million plus another $5 million for legal battles for Bibles in the classroom. He wants that in the budget for next year. Senate Subcommittee on Education is not recommending that. Didn't put it on their list. He sent an email out an hour ago saying we're getting Bibles in every classroom. When it comes to public funds spent on religious means, i.e. Bibles, what's your thoughts on that? Do you think he should do his job on this matter too, and stick to his job and not get involved in the Bibles in the classroom? What's your thoughts?
Well, back on the immigration deal, we talked about that last week, and the reason I stepped in is because to me that was a no-brainer. This is not a public safety issue. We're not going to put a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid on some list. I think most Oklahomans agree with me on that. We want to secure the border. We want to get rid of the criminal activity out of our state, and we're doing that. Had breakfast this morning with all the municipal police chiefs around the state. We had OSBI, OBN, we had ICE there at the governor's mansion talking about how we get rid of the criminal element out of our country. And I think Oklahomans agree with me on that. But to me, it was an unforced error to go pick on kids, put them on a list, and so we're gonna correct that. As far as the educational system, Bibles in schools, listen. That's why I believe in school choice. We love Christian schools and Catholic schools, and that's why we passed the first ever religious charter school. I don't think the government should keep a parent from putting their values and training their kids in what their values are. I just think that's common sense. We have the educational tax credit. And then public schools, I put more money in public education than any other governor before me. And we're going to continue to do that as well. And, we believe in the religious freedoms in America. I think that's just common sense. So the spending extra money on things like that, that's where I've heard them say that everybody's got the Bible app. We know Bobby Greenwald, a friend of mine, huge Oklahoman that has 1 billion downloads. We're going to have a huge celebration. I think in November, there's 1 billion downloads started right here from Oklahoma on the Bible app, which is just amazing example of Oklahoma. And so I'm sure most kids have the Bible app on their phone today.
Governor, there's a bill that passed through the Senate Judiciary Committee that would propose a 2-year moratorium on the death penalty. Give the state a task force a chance to review the processes and just ensure that everything's being done right. I wondered if you could comment about that prospect.
Well, I don't know specifically, I haven't looked at that specific bill, but when I first came into office, Governor Fallin had stopped the death penalty for, 4 or 5 years before I got here. And so we've studied that a lot. I think we've had, I don't know how many executions since I've been here, but they're doing the team, we've got that process down. These are only for the worst of the worst, the most heinous of crimes. And if a jury has recommended the death penalty, then Oklahoma's going to execute that law. So postpone another 2 years to study this, I don't know why you would do that. You could say you're not for the death penalty, and that's probably what these authors are saying, is they don't like the death penalty. But for the most heinous of crimes, these are for brutal, brutal murderers. And, Oklahomans have voted, and that's part of our law. And as governor, I take an oath to uphold the law and that's kind of the way I look at that. So I'm assuming these folks are trying to get rid of the death penalty. And I mean, that's their prerogative. If they can get that across the finish line, get the governor to sign it, then that'd be one thing. But just to postpone it for 2 years to study something that we've already been doing, doesn't sound reasonable to me.
Good afternoon, Governor. In recent weeks, days, months, both the Attorney General and the State Superintendent have issued press releases kind of questioning your record on immigration enforcement in Oklahoma. I want to see if you want to respond to that.
The auditor and the attorney general, you said?
No, the superintendent.
Oh, the superintendent. Again, listen, I've said this before, I'll say it again, when you're running for higher office and the attorney general's already announced for governor, and who knows if the superintendent's going to run for governor or lieutenant governor or something, you're going to see more of this. This is 2025, and I told you this in 24, and it's going to come even more in 26. People trying to get their name in the paper and attack whatever to try to politically think that they're maneuvering. Again, there's really not a comment. Oklahomans know, they trust me on these issues. I've sent troops to the border. We believe in border security. We set up Operation Guardian. We want to make sure that we protect the taxpayer. And if there's people in our prisons that shouldn't even be in our state in the first place, we want to get rid of them. But I'd be interested to find out if the attorney general, or I think the superintendent's pretty vocal on that he thinks we should put the kids on lists. But I'd be interested if the attorney general wants to make an opinion on that. When you're a governor, you have to make decisions and not just press statements, and you've got to be able to stand behind what you believe in and lead Oklahoma. And so I don't know exactly what he's talking about there, but our record stands for itself. Thanks, everybody.